Eric Alper from Koch, and they are a distribution company. This is really interesting because this is going to be the business side of music, basically the music business. And these guys know better than everyone here, really better than the bands, how to market themselves, how to go through the channels of just all the basic marketing that you can at South by Southwest, and you can really utilize your experience here in a very short time. So I guess for starters, tell me a little bit about Koch and who you guys work with and work for, and what your goal is.
Koch Entertainment is the largest independent distribution company in North America. I mean that we're not connected to a Sony, BMG, EMI, Warner, and so forth.
Yep.
So what we're here at South by Southwest, which is like the greatest festival in the world, is to not only support the labels that have their own nights and showcases, but also to try to find new bands and new labels to handle distribution for. Because you can have all the PR in the world, you can have all the best radio in the world and the best management, but unless you get your records into the stores, or unless you're on digital through iTunes or eMusic, then you're not really in the business of music. You're just in the business of kind of playing. And so what distribution is, it's essentially moving box of CDs from the warehouse to the record stores, and that's what Koch pretty much excels in doing. So we're down here to kind of seek out new bands and new labels.
That's really interesting. You hit on it, because that's something that I think independent bands really don't understand, is that you're just in the business of playing, and they think that, oh, I get this major label deal, I'll be set, and the biggest part of it, if independent bands would understand, and I love the fact that you guys are independent, if independent bands would understand that if we have distribution, you're getting it out there to the people. So I love the fact that you guys are independent. Tell me a little bit about why your company has chosen to stay independent with such major labels and major distribution tied to each label out there.
I think it's because, in 2007, you have a lot of bands that used to be on major labels that were selling, 500,000, 600,000, or even like 100,000 copies. And the major labels were, one thing that they don't do very well is they don't know how to stop spending your money. Like the major labels are essentially banks for you, and they basically go up and they buy the advertising, and they buy your way onto a tour, and they buy the retail space. And what Koch does is they try to find the band on the labels, they spend, a little bit less money that normally like a major label would, but they target to your fans. So this way, when you start to sell records, or when you do start selling records, then there's more money in the pocket for the artist, rather than, oh, you're in debt $500,000, but you've made, you sold 1 million copies. Like, where'd the money go? And the money is essentially being put back into the artist's pocket. And that's where, in this year and in the years ahead, it's where, like the digital structure is geared toward the artist. It's there where you've got a level playing field with the Nelly Furtados and, the Warner acts and the EMI act, where if you build enough buzz through like your MySpace account, then you've got the ability to go to sites like this and check out the music and hear the music and see what it's all about, and buy it digitally or online or at the record store in the same manner that you would elsewhere. And so at Koch, we don't really need a major label kind of behind us, because we've got our own marketing, and most independent distributors do, where we do our own marketing, our own promotion, our own radio, and so we're there for the artist first and foremost, Woo!
There's an emergency. So for all the independent bands out there, tell me, how are they going to get a hold of you guys? How are they going to be the ones that can, be smart in their thinking and stay independent and get to Koch and basically it's DIY, man. It's like, that's what DIY is all about. That seems what you guys are all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I started working at Koch, the best thing that I did is I went to Google, and everybody knows Google, type in DIY distribution and find out to see if you really need it. Because it's pretty expensive. You're not dealing with, putting records in Buffalo or in Houston, Texas. You're dealing with, across America. And that could get really expensive, because you go from 500 copies of your CD to potentially 5,000 copies, and it may all come back. So then you're sitting on a large expense. So the best thing to do is find out to see if you really need it. You need to ask yourself some really tough questions. Is the band touring across America? Do you have radio across across America or Canada? And so once you kind of answer the questions, then you can go to kochent.com, which is KOCHENT.com, or type in Koch Entertainment. We come up for both America and Canada, and talk to us, and like we'll give you like the real deal on what you can actually do to survive in the music industry, because it needs to get back to that. It needs to get back to not necessarily buying your way or becoming a star first and then selling records. There's so many great bands here at South by Southwest in America that can do very, very well, not going for the brass ring of like universal music, you know.
Are you guys international?
We are. We actually have an office in America and in Canada, but a lot of the labels that we do distribution for have distribution in, like, whether it's Europe or Japan or Asia or Ireland or Europe. So it's really easy for us, if we like a band and if it makes sense, to send that CD to one of our labels that have distribution over there. And so by the same token, as long as it's needed and it's warranted, so we build that network as well. And so they handle their own deals, they do their own percentages. We kind of just act as a really great network for a lot of these independent bands that otherwise wouldn't have a reason to contact these people.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I find this extremely interesting, and I really hope that you guys will take the opportunity to look up Koch Entertainment, KochENT.com.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thanks.